Welcome to our channel where we uncover the rarest, most fascinating, and shockingly valuable coins hiding in plain sight. And today, you're in for an absolute numismatic treat as we dive deep into the story of the 2003 D1 coin, a humble penny at face value but a jaw-dropping treasure for collectors, now known to fetch up to $84 or more due to its astounding errors, striking mistakes, and hidden minting anomalies that have turned it into a big money find in the coin collecting world. And if you've ever thought a penny couldn't be worth anything more than a single cent, prepare to have that belief shattered, because this tiny copper-plated zinc coin has stunned collectors and auction houses alike by commanding premiums well beyond its intended face value. And it's not just speculation, this is backed by a chain of real transactions, verifiable minting inconsistencies, and historical coin mint data that all point to the possibility of select 2003 D Lincoln cents being minted with such imperfections and rare characteristics that they become prized possessions and conversation pieces among serious numismatists. So let's begin this deep dive into exactly what makes these coins so special, why they're worth hunting for in your pocket change, and how certain minting errors, especially when produced at the Denver Mint, have created a storm in the coin world. And to start off, we need to understand that the Denver Mint in 2003 was mass-producing coins at a high rate to meet circulation demand, which inevitably led to quality control lapses, and that very environment, one marked by volume over precision, gave birth to the first category of valuable errors, double dies, which occur when the die used to stamp the design onto the coin shifts or is struck more than once out of alignment, resulting in a doubling effect that is often visible on the inscriptions such as Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date 2003, and these double die errors on 2003 D cents have been documented and verified by seasoned collectors and grading agencies, with clear cases where letters show a shadowed or doubled appearance when viewed under magnification, and in some dramatic cases, even visible to the naked eye, making them immediately desirable to error coin hunters. And what's more fascinating is that the doubling in some of these 2003 D cents is located on Lincoln's eye or facial profile, an anomaly that gives these coins a surreal, almost uncanny appearance that instantly attracts attention and increases value significantly. And then there are the off-center strike errors, a result of the coin blank not being properly seated in the collar during striking, which leads to a coin design that is misaligned or off-center, and depending on the degree of the off-center strike, ranging from slight to dramatic. These errors can drive up the coin's desirability, with collectors paying a steep premium, especially if the date is still visible on the coin, as that enhances its identification and authenticity. And another notable category includes clip planchette errors, where a portion of the coin's edge is missing due to a misfeed in the blanking press, creating crescent-shaped gaps that collectors find both fascinating and historically valuable because they point to clear mistakes in the minting process that bypassed all quality control. And perhaps even more intriguing is the appearance of broad-struck errors on 2003 D pennies, where the coin was struck without the collar that normally contains its shape, causing the coin to spread out wider and flatter than intended, distorting the design and creating a unique appearance that diverges from any regular circulation coin, adding both rarity and numismatic value. And let's not forget die cracks and die chips. These are small metal bumps or lines that appear due to wear and tear on the dies used to strike coins. And on some 2003 D cents, these have been documented near Lincoln's head, shoulder, or the date area, with dramatic chips even causing extra bumps or blobs of metal that make it look like Lincoln has extra features. And collectors affectionately refer to these as cuds or spiked heads depending on their location, and they become subcategories of errors that are followed enthusiastically across online collector forums and trading platforms, with verified specimens selling for many times their face value. And the fun doesn't stop there, because the 2003 D Lincoln cent also has been found with a transitional error, albeit extremely rare, involving a zinc planchette coated with a bronze-like layer that was not intended for 2003 production, which harks back to older metal compositions. And if authenticated, such a coin can fetch thousands, but even suspected anomalies fetch high interest and investigation, further elevating the overall interest in this particular year and mint mark combination. And even more granular are die clash errors, occurring when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchette in between, causing parts of the design from one side to be imprinted onto the other. And these ghost-like impressions have appeared on 2003 D pennies, where faint outlines of the Lincoln Memorial can be seen on Lincoln's face or shoulders, creating eerie patterns that are often mistaken for post-mint damage but are in fact legitimate minting errors recognized by grading services, and collectors are increasingly recognizing These die clash varieties as premium additions to their sets, and the sheer abundance of possible errors in this particular mintage has prompted widespread re-examination of circulated 2003 D cents, with many hobbyists returning to old coin jars and rolls to recheck what they might have missed years ago, spurred on by recent auction results and online sales where error-filled 2003 D cents have consistently crossed the $84 mark when well preserved and properly attributed, and while condition always plays a role in value, it's not uncommon for even circulated examples with bold errors to command significant interest, especially those with multiple errors present simultaneously, such as a coin with both a double die and off-center strike, making it a compound error that multiplies its appeal. And aside from the mechanical and physical anomalies, the historical context of 2003 also adds a layer of intrigue, as it was a time when the US Mint was transitioning into more modernized and automated systems, creating an intersection of old human oversight and new machine production, which paradoxically led to a unique spike in subtle yet valuable mint errors. And while the standard 2003 D penny might seem like just another modern coin, these subtle production flaws, when present, create a perfect storm for collectors who thrive on rarity, uniqueness, and the story behind the metal. And as more people become aware of the value locked in what might appear to be just spare change, the popularity of hunting for 2003 D pennies has risen dramatically, with social media groups, YouTube videos, and numismatic forums buzzing with new discoveries and exchanges of error coin photos, authentication tips, and price discussions. And many grading companies like PCGS and NGC have officially slabbed and graded error varieties of the 2003 D cent, further cementing their legitimacy and value within the collecting community. And so the question becomes, how do you know if your 2003 D penny is one of the valuable ones? And the answer lies in careful observation, using a magnifying glass or jeweller's loupe to inspect all lettering, date digits, Lincoln's face, and the coin's edges for irregularities, die clashes, cracks, chips, and any signs of doubling. And consulting reliable error coin catalogs or online databases can help match what you're seeing with known varieties. And even if you're not an experienced collector, don't underestimate the value of simply setting aside all your 2003 D pennies for closer examination, or even submitting a promising specimen to a grading service for expert verification. And once certified, your coin's value could skyrocket depending on rarity and visual appeal. And with all this in mind, the 2003 D 1 cent coin stands as a shining example of how even the smallest currency can hold immense value under the right circumstances. And as coin collecting continues to grow as a hobby and investment avenue, these error-filled pennies are poised to become even more sought after in the years ahead. So check your pockets, look through your jars, and you might just be holding onto an $84 treasure without even realizing it. And if this kind of deep dive into rare and valuable coins fascinates you as much as it does us, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications bell so you never miss a story where spare change turns into serious money. Next! Today we're diving into a truly astonishing story from the world of coin collecting that will capture the imagination of every numismatist, history lover, and curious viewer alike, the 1978 D Lincoln 1 cent coin that has stunned collectors with its growing value, sometimes selling for an eye-watering $182 due to its rare errors and fascinating production mistakes that have made it one of the most sought-after pennies in the entire world of US coinage. This is not just any ordinary coin, not merely a piece of copper-plated zinc forgotten at the bottom of a drawer or lost in the cushions of a couch. This is a piece of American minting history wrapped in mystery, surrounded by intrigue, and driven by a series of tiny anomalies that have catapulted its humble face value into the realm of big money collectibles. And in today's video, we'll take you on an exhaustive journey into the depths of what makes this seemingly common 1978 D penny a numismatic legend in its own right, starting from the historic context of its creation to the precise minting errors that increase its value exponentially in the eyes of collectors and dealers alike, examining every detail that turns an everyday penny into an extraordinary artifact of monetary history. So let's begin this riveting journey into the heart of Denver's 1978 minting run and unlock the secrets of why this specific coin could fetch you up to $182 if you're lucky enough to find one with the right characteristics and conditions, because understanding how this penny came to be and why it's so valuable requires peeling back the layers of its creation, starting with the historical environment of the late 1970s when the United States Mint was still using a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc for its 1 cent coins. a mixture that itself became increasingly expensive as copper prices rose in subsequent decades, meaning these earlier coins already have intrinsic metal value that newer zinc-based pennies lack. But beyond just the materials, the year 1978 marked a turning point in coinage technology and minting practices, with shifts in quality control, die manufacturing, and increased automation that, while innovative, also opened the door to a range of unintended minting anomalies, especially at the Denver Mint, which was known for its extremely high output and aggressive production quotas, occasionally resulting in overused dies, misalignments, and planchette issues that would later turn into valuable collector targets. And among the most prominent errors found in the 1978 D penny are the infamous double die obverse, DDO, where the design elements on the front of the coin, such as the date, the lettering in God We Trust, and Liberty, appear to be struck twice, creating a shadowy or doubled appearance that is unmistakable under magnification and adds substantial value because of its rarity and the complexity of identifying a genuine doubled die from mere mechanical doubling, a more common and less valuable anomaly. But when a true double die obverse is confirmed, especially on the 1978 D where it is far less frequent than its Philadelphia counterpart, collectors will pay premium amounts. And then there are the repunched mint marks, RPM, where this Dth mint mark from the Denver Mint was punched into the die more than once, but slightly off alignment, creating a noticeable doubling or even tripling of the D that is visible to the naked eye or with slight magnification. And these RPM varieties are particularly prized because they indicate a manual error during the die preparation phase, a human misstep in an otherwise automated process, making each such coin a window into the historical minting practices of the era and highly collectible as a result. And then we have the off-center strikes, which occur when the coin blank, or planchette, is not perfectly aligned with the dies during the striking process, resulting in a coin where part of the design is missing, or dramatically off-center, and these can range from minor misalignments of just 5% to dramatic errors where 50% or more of the coin surface is blank, and the higher the degree of off-center strike, while still retaining visible date and mint mark, the more desirable the coin becomes, and such off-center 1978 D pennies can command impressive prices at auctions, particularly when accompanied by strong visual appeal and no signs of post-mint damage, which is another critical factor in coin valuation since damage done after minting, such as scratches, corrosion, or cleaning, can diminish value significantly even if the coin has a desirable error, which is why collectors prefer coins in uncirculated or mint state condition, with sharp details and strong luster. And that brings us to the role of coin grading, as coins certified by reputable agencies like PCGS or NGC often sell for far higher values because the authentication and encapsulation ensure that the coin's error is genuine and the condition is verified. And in the case of the 1978 D penny, examples graded MS65 or higher with clear errors like double dies or RPMs have been known to fetch up to $182 or even more at specialized auctions and online marketplaces where knowledgeable collectors seek specific varieties to complete error sets or date mint mark collections. And don't forget the elusive die cracks and cuds that appear on some 1978 D specimens, which occur when the die itself fractures, leaving raised, irregular lines or missing segments on the struck coin, and these can result in dramatic-looking features that increase both the uniqueness and value of a coin, especially if the crack runs through important design elements like Lincoln's profile or the motto above his head. And the rarer the cud or crack placement, the more premium the coin can command. And let's not overlook the transition and alloy anomalies, because though 1978 was still solidly within the copper-based composition era, there were still test planchets and experimental strikes occurring in preparation for the 1982 transition to zinc cores, and it's theoretically possible, though extremely rare, that off-metal strikes or experimental planchets from surrounding years could have been accidentally used in Denver during the 1978 production run, and such wrong planchet errors are considered treasures in the coin world, sometimes selling for hundreds or even thousands of dollars if confirmed by professional graders. And when such a coin features multiple errors, say, a wrong planchette, an off-center strike, and a double die, it becomes a true multi-error specimen whose value is exponentially greater than the sum of its parts. And this potential for combined errors is what drives much of the collector excitement around even relatively common coins like the 1978 D penny, because the chance of discovering a coin that escaped unnoticed from the Denver Mint over 4 decades ago with a unique combination of production flaws makes every pocket change search feel like a treasure hunt. And beyond just the errors themselves, the condition and rarity play pivotal roles in establishing the market value of these coins, because while millions of 1978 OD pennies were minted, only a fraction of those will have true collectible grade errors, and an even smaller number will be in pristine condition, uncirculated, with full original mint luster and clean fields, and it's this scarcity, in both error and grade, that creates the price surge, and the storytelling aspect of each coin adds even more allure for buyers and sellers who cherish the narrative of finding such a coin in circulation, at a garage sale, in a relative's coin jar, or inside an old piggy bank, and this sense of history, possibility, and numismatic adventure fuels the passionate market for coins like the 1978 D penny that somehow escaped perfection to become an icon of valuable imperfection, and while most people might overlook a penny on the sidewalk or disregard a coin in their change as worthless, collectors know that these small discs of metal can carry enormous value, financial, historical, and sentimental, especially when they contain the telltale signs of a mistake made in the high-pressure world of US mint production. And so next time you get change from a store, take a moment to inspect your pennies closely, especially any 1978 DS, because with the right magnification, some patience, and a bit of knowledge, you just might find a treasure hiding in plain sight, a tiny time capsule from 1978 that has the potential to earn you $182 or more. And if that kind of numismatic adventure excites you, then be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more amazing coin stories, and turn on the notification so you never miss another valuable find or exciting discovery in the world of rare US coins. Today we're diving into an extraordinary journey centered around a coin you might not have paid attention to before, but which could be hiding a surprising value far greater than its face suggests, so prepare yourself as we unveil the fascinating story of the 2017 D1 cent coin, a seemingly ordinary penny that has stunned collectors and coin enthusiasts due to the errors, anomalies, and striking mistakes that have driven its value up to $12 and even more in some rare instances, making it an incredible example of how numismatic quirks can transform a copper-plated zinc disc into a sought-after collectible. And if you're the type of person who occasionally dumps your loose change into a jar without thinking twice, you may want to start looking a little closer, because these error coins have turned everyday people into lucky finders of rare treasure. And the tale of the 2017 D penny begins in the Denver Mint, one of the main production facilities for US currency, which minted millions upon millions of these coins during that year as part of routine circulation. But within this massive output, a few coins slipped through the cracks of quality control, carrying with them a series of defects and anomalies that now distinguish them in the eyes of both expert collectors and amateur enthusiasts. And as we unravel the specific errors that have captivated the numismatic world, it becomes clear that the 2017 D penny's real story lies in the intricate details often invisible to the naked eye, starting with one of the most widely reported flaws, the die crack error, which occurs when a minting die develops a small fracture that gets transferred onto the coin as a raised line or ridge, giving the coin an unusual appearance, often resembling a scar running across Lincoln's portrait. And although these die cracks can be minor, the more prominent ones become highly desirable due to their uniqueness. And another error worth mentioning is the misaligned die strike, where the obverse and reverse images don't properly line up due to a shift in the die setup, causing the design to appear off-center or even have parts missing along the rim. And such coins are rarely identical, making each one distinct. And adding to the variety is the presence of double die errors, which are the result of the coin receiving two impressions from the die at slightly different angles, leading to doubled letters in inscriptions like "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or the date 2017, and these double dies can vary in intensity from minor ghosting to bold doubling that's clearly visible without magnification, and this variation plays a crucial role in determining the value, as the stronger the doubling, the higher the potential interest and market price. But the intrigue doesn't stop there, because the 2017 D penny has also been observed with off-center strikes where the coin blank wasn't properly centered under the die during minting, leading to coins where a significant portion of the design is missing while the blank metal remains untouched. And depending on how far off-center the strike is, these coins can be worth more than $12, especially when the date and mint mark are still visible, which helps identify the coin despite its flawed appearance. And then there are the coins with plating blisters or bubbles, a side effect of improper bonding between the copper plating and the zinc core during production, which can cause small, raised bumps on the surface of the coin. often mistaken for damage but actually representing a legitimate mint error. And while collectors tend to debate the desirability of such coins, some of these 2017 AD cents with noticeable, well-formed blisters have fetched premiums among error coin aficionados. And continuing down the rabbit hole of errors, another prized mistake involves the so-called cap die error, where a coin gets stuck to the die and essentially becomes a soft mold, striking subsequent coins with a blurred or ghost-like impression until the stuck coin is removed. And though rare, cap die errors from 2017 AD have been reported and verified, giving those coins a dreamlike, almost melted appearance that instantly elevates their desirability among collectors. And let's not forget about the repunched mint mark or RPM error, in which the th mint mark for Denver appears to have been struck more than once, resulting in a shadowed or doubled letter. And while the mint now uses single squeeze technology that makes RPMs rare for modern coins, some 2017 AD examples have shown anomalies that continue to spark debate among experts about whether they represent true RPMs or other forms of die deterioration doubling. But regardless of classification, such oddities help set these coins apart and add another layer of intrigue. And even more subtle are the coins struck with die chips or retained cut errors, where pieces of the die have broken away, creating blobs or bumps of metal on the finished coin, typically in places like Lincoln's eye, beard, or the lettering. And while some collectors view these as minor, others cherish them for their clear visual distinction and evidence of the minting process gone awry. And value often depends on the size and visibility of the die chip, with some 2017 AD coins featuring massive chips commanding much higher premiums. And then we come to transitional errors. Although not officially known to exist for this date, the idea that a small number of 2017 AD cents could have been struck on leftover blanks from another year or denomination stirs the imagination of collectors, and such errors have occurred in other years, such as cents struck on dime planches or on foreign coin stock. And if any 2017 AD cents are discovered to fit this rare category, they could easily skyrocket in value. And one can't discuss valuable modern pennies without touching on strike-through errors, where foreign material like grease, wire, or even fragments of other coins interfere with the striking process, causing strange patterns or missing details on the affected cent. And while many such strike-throughs are considered minor, the more dramatic ones, such as full design obstructions or deep indentations, can command impressive sums. And on top of these mint-made errors, there's also the element of collector psychology and rarity perception, because in a coin market driven by unique pieces, even relatively small mintage flaws gain outsized value if they spark enough curiosity and desire. And the 2017 AD penny, despite being produced in massive numbers, has gained a kind of underground popularity among error hunters who scour their change in hopes of finding one with just the right mistake. And when these coins hit online auction sites or collector forums, bidding wars often ensue, especially when clear photos and third-party authentication are involved. And speaking of authentication, having a coin professionally graded and encapsulated by a service like PCGS or NGC can dramatically enhance its credibility and market value, as collectors are more willing to invest in coins that have been verified and assigned an error designation by recognized experts. And some 2017 AD errors, once certified, have seen their market price triple or more, particularly when they receive high mint state grades in conjunction with unusual errors. And beyond monetary value, there's an educational aspect to the 2017 AD penny that draws in collectors who want to understand the mechanics of minting and how such errors occur, using these coins as case studies to explore die wear, planchet quality, and machine calibration. And this curiosity further fuels demand, making even lesser-known errors like zinc rot or internal corrosion under the plating a point of discussion, as some coins appear to degrade more quickly than others due to chemical inconsistencies during production. And while not all such coins are valuable, their distinct appearance often leads collectors to categorize them for long-term observation or novelty. And one must also consider the role of social media and coin hunting communities in promoting the 2017 AD penny, as YouTube videos, Reddit threads, and Facebook groups dedicated to error coins often share pictures, stories, and sales receipts that build hype around certain varieties, contributing to the mystique and elevating interest among casual hobbyists and serious numismatists alike. And this organic buzz can drive prices upward as more people enter the market and begin searching for these pennies, further reducing the available supply and increasing perceived scarcity. And as time passes and more of these error coins are removed from circulation and added to private collections, their availability dwindles, making them even harder to find in pocket change and more valuable in the eyes of future buyers, especially those assembling specialized sets like Lincoln Cent Era Varieties by Year Old Modern. Denver Mint Rarities, and the 2017 AD fits perfectly into these themes, ensuring that demand remains steady if not growing. And finally, while $12 may not seem like a fortune, it represents a 1,100-fold increase over the coin's face value, and the potential to discover such a penny in your everyday change adds a layer of excitement to the simple act of paying for groceries or counting your spare coins, turning a routine task into a miniature treasure hunt. And this blend of rarity, imperfection, historical context,